Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you're doing well and still have some energy. I will give people time to put the headphones back on and get ready for our last two sessions of the day. I hope that our panelists are ready and excited to share all of their insights with us. So right now, we're going to talk a little bit about the state of deep tech. For that, we're going to have Vaido, Head of Startup Estonia. We will have Rainis, Vanta as well, and Kalev, who is no stranger to the stage and was there with us yesterday. So I'm really excited for this discussion. Please, Vaido, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Seb. So we've been doing this for a few years in a row now, so it's almost like a Saturday Night Live or something. It's just we do it on an annual basis. But without further ado, let's do a very brief intro of Rainis and Kalev, because I think you both have changed jobs since last year. So what are you doing now?
Yeah, it's back to your night live. Three middle-aged dudes, white dudes, talking about what's coming and what's happening. Um, so last time when I was on the stage, I was still part of Super Angel investment team. Now I'm part of Metrosert, which is a state enterprise offering measurement, certification, and applied research services. And I help there to set up the sales of 5 new labs of autonomous driving, drones, hydrogen, health data, and biorefining.
All right. So, Rainis.
And I have been always mentally freelancer, so I don't count jobs. There have been many of them, but what I do is I count value. And if somewhere value generation stops or gets declined, then I will quickly change the job. It's the instrument of generating value. So now I'm heading the Institute of Bioengineering Innovation Office, which means that we are researchers, grassroots level innovation office to drive a researcher's mind toward commercially applicable outcome.
All right. Hopefully, we will have time to return to the bioengineering part and your intro, where you say that you disappear from the vertical or from the tech side, which loses value. And that there's been definitely questions in Estonia about the value of biotech recently. So hopefully, we manage to come back to that one. But Kalev is like a beautiful, beautiful man in
Thank you, thank you.
also by appearance, but right now actually I meant your brain, because he always does his homework, and you have again done an homework and consulted the most relevant language models, which means DeepSeek, in terms of what's coming in tech and what has been around. So what's the takeaway?
Yeah, so recently DeepSeek, the Chinese model, came out, and there are some similarities with Soviet Union and China, that engineers didn't have enough resources. So the DeepSeek uses much less computational power and is much more compact. Luckily, Perplexity has added it, DeepSeek, into the package. So before coming to stage, I did a comparative search and asked, do me a deep dive into what are the in Baltic and Nordics trends in 24 and 25, what are the predictions. And I did a comparative with ChatGPT and with DeepSeek. And I can tell that DeepSeek actually dig deeper and listed me one more fund from Denmark, which raised 25, in addition to the Voima and Nordic Science Initiative, 60 mil, which so basically we both showed that there is more money for deep tech, and also Maki VC has raised a new fund, and that's their mandate from a new fund is also to do deep tech more. So more money on the table. Also, the last year showed that approximately 30%, 40%, depending on the country, of investments goes into the deep tech. So these are like good news. And prediction, maybe I'll read out the prediction of DeepSeek for 25, because I found it very, very optimistic. So here it goes. That first Baltic deep tech IPO. It's likely coming from Estonia, from material science, or Lithuania's laser technology. Second prediction is that we are going to see more corporate R&D partnerships where major Nordic and Baltic big companies will start to cooperate with startups in battery technology and photonics. And finally, that funding will be normalized. The Series A rounds will be recovering to 22 levels by the third quarter of this year.
All right. Rainis, you are also known in Estonia as Mr. Singapore. So you have like deep connections to Southeast Asia. What do you make out of these predictions?
Actually, yeah. First of all, the sample size is very small. So if I would take my classical stance, why I at all reached to Singapore was the global macroeconomic analysis. So Southeast Asia is the fastest growing market and fastest growing tech scene in the world. And it has also very strong second-comer advantage, which means that the education level and the universities have reached a substantially good level to copy something or get the data and do something better than we do here. So just like DeepSeek already demonstrated. So Southeast Asia hides a lot of black horses in many different fields, also in biotech. And another important thing is that when I look from Southeast Asia to Europe, then Europe as a continent does not grow anymore. So the funds, as I said, sample is too small. So we don't know, maybe few funds will be successful. But in Europe, we don't have yet successful over 500 million VC fund, which is quite a necessary standard for deep tech VC market to start actually running. So we are still heavily dependent on US VC market, and statistically ourselves we produce very little opportunities actually yet. So these little trends, the key concern for me is that where are those entities who can actually hop on with the trend? Because somebody might be in trouble at the time when the trend emerges, somebody might have growth problems, somebody might have a wrong market insight.
I can give you an example. I second to you that Estonia is like in Estonian sports that we don't have very good team sport teams, but we have individual superstars. And I had a challenge that I brought here IBM Quantum Ambassador yesterday, and we tried to, it was too short notice, but we tried to arrange to meeting with students from quantum field who study and research it here. And it turned out that two professors were on holidays, and the students were all doing their exams. So I had nobody to meet the IBM Quantum Ambassador, for example. That this field is very small. If somebody is on a vacation, then we are done.
So, but how does that kind of compare to the technology trends that we were just discussing? That if both of the professors are on holiday and both of the students are learning, then we just shut down the entire ecosystem.
Well, I mean, there are good news and bad news with very small sample size. Bad news is that you most probably cannot follow the trend just by the mechanics. So the trend appears and certainly somebody will be successful. I mean, the trend itself, that means, does not define the success of the ecosystem here. However, black horses. So good news is that there are always somebody whose mind says that computer says no is not a sentence. The mindset is different. I mean, if we find people who are still able to jump on with Quantum Ambassador of IBM, not here or maybe in Germany or in UK, or travel around a little bit in the world, then we can be successful. So we don't have to follow the trend, but certainly we have to be more proactive.
And one more thing, maybe, Vaido, what is also what DeepSeek brought out, that Nordics are actually and Baltics are trying to cooperate more. That we have several initiatives like this Nordic Deep Tech Valley. We have initiatives in quantum computing to pool the resources and people and knowledge together so that we have like a stronger force to do this stuff. And same with dual use technologies and and also space. That these are like if you talk about the opportunities for startups, that if we want to do something, and this is the stuff which is predicted in 25, we can actually do something. And I think what we are discussing here is this slight misconnect between the startups, what's out there, and the university capabilities of fitting that. We have this scientific research. Universities are focused on that, and where you can get cutting edge on there, but it might be misaligned with what's happening in industries and where you can make money.
Okay, so the situation must be really bad if the Nordics and Baltics are starting to collaborate. So,
or the opposite, that we are finally getting there.
well, we are 10 minutes in, which means that we can take the gloves off now. So, Rainis, you heard about Metrosert's designed focus areas. So, what do you think of those areas and technologies?
I think these are reasonable because these focus areas are presented in any of the countries, in Singapore, in US. It's the same list everywhere. Now the question is what kind of resources and what kind of capabilities or what kind of timeline we need to actually get one or other vertical going. And there I think we should have maybe a little bit this focus strategy. Let's take step by step. Let's start from simpler and let's go to more complex ones then later.
So what kind of timelines we are talking, let's say, in Singapore? What's the kind of aggressiveness level there?
Yeah, the aggressiveness level is very strong there, but Singapore's example is especially useful for Estonia because it clearly demonstrates how unified policy making or decentralized R&D policy making can preserve the resource for very small country to do something very big.
But
it takes 20 years at least.
Let's make it much more concrete. Let's pick one of the tech areas that Kalev mentioned that is present also in Singapore. So what were the Metrosert areas?
Drones, autonomous driving, hydrogen, health data, and biorefining, which the last is probably closest to you.
So is biorefining a priority for Singapore?
In the means of novel foods only.
Okay, but what about health data?
Very strong
priority. Very strong.
Mm.
So aggressiveness level from 1 to 10, that 10 is like super aggressive, and also the resource level from 1 to 10. Give me two numbers.
Yeah.
For Singapore.
For which field? Let's say the health data.
Yeah.
Absolutely 10.
Both 10. And
yeah.
Estonian numbers?
I think Estonia has like 6, 5 maybe, because I mean we clearly map the necessity, but we haven't understand what kind of benefit it does and for whom. And that also does not very well unlock the market opportunity. This is the key.
Okay.
And I guess also what you mentioned, that there's a good side and bad side of Singapore being a uni-party country where you can streamline everything very seamlessly. That in Estonia, there's health data is the health data pieces of a puzzle between 3 different ministries: economic affairs, social ministry, and health and the education and research. And so aligning these on policy level is easy. Aligning these on agency level, like the people who actually work in these ministries and have been working there, and sometimes have a
no, but that's a back-end problem. That's a kitchen problem for us.
That's a kitchen problem. Yeah.
So we have established you, Kalev, as a thorough guy already. So let's continue on the health data. I'm pretty sure that you have done some research. Like let's leave out the Singapore. Let's look at some kind of Western countries who are doing really well there. How much behind are we?
In some cases, we are actually in pretty good shape.
How many millions or tens or hundreds of millions euros we need to actually stay ahead?
It's more like a question that can we change the laws so that we set clear rules and boundaries, how to get access to the health data in a safe way, that nobody's rights are demolished, but at the same time we can do cool stuff. So it's not so much a matter of money right now, it's a matter of how fast we can change laws.
Okay.
And that's a problem, because I've heard from one high key person in Ministry of Social Affairs. But for example, in one case, it takes 2 years to analyze, can we change the law? Not to change the law, but to do the analysis that can we change it.
Oh dear Lord. Priit Saloma from Better Medicine just said in the previous talk that he brought the boxer example, that the Americans and Chinese are like boxing and fighting with all legs and hands free, and we have actually one hand tied behind the back and blindfolded, basically. So we're a blindfolded boxer. So do you want to lower your assessment of Estonian situation on the health data?
No, not at all. I mean, what I can say, the change is triggered by outlook. The Estonians have to travel more, have to take the vacation seriously, and a little bit peek in their respective professional field in the countries they go to vacate, for example, or to go to countries which are at very good level in that, even Finland, for example. So. If people travel more, if people in Estonia could get understanding that Estonian problems are very small, very isolated, it does not give you the full value chain anyway. There is no market here, This is the first truth that every startup will have to understand immediately. There is no market in Estonia. So get to know your market first, get to know the best practices around the world, get to know the competitors, and then most probably you can see what kind of pieces in Estonia are good or bad shape and what can you use immediately. And don't rely on computers as no sentences. There is always a solution.
Let's go to the point that you said that maybe we have time to talk about it. That, this case of university professor stepping down because he lost the belief in the lab, which has raised like 30 mil of grants.
Let's get there. I just want this to get this on record, because what Rainis was saying, so me as a public sector representative, it's okay for me to burn taxpayers' money on traveling.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so that's now on
that's
record.
Done.
That's done. So
Vaido can travel now.
Yeah. Let's get now to the part where not only climate tech in Estonia is dead, but also biotech in Estonia is dead. Yes.
So yeah, I wanted with Rainis, I wanted to discuss your opinion. That from outsider, not knowing a field, it looks like as a founder, I've raised money, I pitched a good story, then I did some market analysis and found out that my assumptions I had about this business are wrong, or they are not easy to go, and then I lose faith, and then I step down. But at the same time, we have Skype, which wasn't the first on the market, and before the Skype, a lot of guys had burned a lot of more money than Skype, and still they succeeded, and we have other similar examples. So what's your take on it? It's like a typical startup when we're talking about that Estonia has to do bets on very specific areas, but what if one of the bets we found out that it's not so easy? What's your take?
Yeah, the question is if you have enjoyed a long period of success, especially in academic research, then you will grow extremely self-confident very often.
Okay.
And once you see your self-confidence gets hurt by one little failure, that wood chemistry demonstrates quite low added value, even if you do it with splendid research.
Okay.
And it would not cash in the money you will put into research or into innovation there, then don't be worried too much or too long, because that's the opportunity to steer away from void areas and find another niches.
So what's now the course of Bioengineering Institute after one of the two professors stepped down?
Yeah, we are one with Taldek. And Taldek so, I mean, Bioengineering Institute still thrives. The professor is very happy that he does not have to administer anymore. And he clearly was actually driving its own change. While he was already very long time actually waiting, but couldn't actually spell out because of the commitment of all these previous projects. But the only project he was very critical was the wood chemistry.
Okay.
Rest of the projects, including synthetic biology, are going to more or less into pharmaceutical sector, which is very strongly buying in very early stage innovation.
So we are running out of time soon. So you're saying that Bioengineering Institute is well alive and kicking. All the fuss in the media is over-exaggerated.
Yes, certainly.
Okay, so if you would have to make now a prediction, or maybe even better than prediction, what are you focusing on in tech in this year?
In current year, I'm focusing on gene therapy platform development by using RNA viruses. One professor has already finished a research with a very splendid patentable platform technology. We have already one patent filed. Now the second one goes in this month. And together with A-STAR, Singapore largest research institution for commercial research, specialized for commercial research, we are initiating the early stage immunological trials in animals. So we are doing our job exactly as it is. And why I am there and why I'm very happy is that I have at least some pharmaceutical background. So I know how this process works. I know how the stepping stones are getting into
So in
stairs.
short, you're not leaving biotech yet?
No,
Okay.
certainly not.
Kalev, Metrosert, what are you focusing on?
So these 5 areas, the labs are going to be ready at some of at the end of this year and most next year. Right now, the stuff we can do already is with health data. That everybody is in that space, come talk to me. And in the other areas, the 5 areas I mentioned, we're building up a labs for testing and product development to speed that up in Estonia. And on top of it, we're building 2 ecosystems. One is quantum computing and quantum technology is larger. That there is also quantum optics and other areas. So come talk to us. And the other is space tech startups that we have a grant from ESA to look into who are today and future developers in these fields.
So very easy final question for you. So out of those 5 areas that Metrosert has, focus areas, if you could shut down one and put the money into any of the others, which one would you choose?
That's very. My colleagues are hopefully not listening to it.
We'll record it and publish it afterwards,
Yeah,
so they'll hear it.
Yeah. Out of those 5, probably if you look at the impact, then it would be autonomous driving, because we're betting on Bolt, and Auvetech and a few others in Estonia. So by the count of number of companies, then there is a list. But at the same time, the impact we have in a very good position where we could write a standard. Estonia could write the standard of sensors on autonomous driving. So in that sense, I wouldn't shut it down because it's the only of these 5 where we could speak a
You're getting as
standard.
bad as Rainis. You're not answering the question.
No, because it's too hard to answer.
Okay, so
I think he doesn't even have to answer. It's a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
You have to take your milestones step by step. You can't do everything at the same time. That's for sure.
we are breaking the furniture step by step. This is the second chair we managed to break. It means the startup day is coming to an end and that the furniture is breaking down. Hopefully it's not imported from South China or Southeast Asia somewhere. But you know, thank you guys. We will take this on offline. If you have any ideas what you want to discuss with Rainis or Kalev, feel free to grab them. And let's do it again next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vaido. Thank you, Kalev. Thank you, Rainis, for this lovely conversation. We have now another little 20-minute break, and we'll be back here at 2:40 for the very last conversation of this Deep Tech Lounge at Startup Day 2025. So 2:40, we're going to have our last session talking about NDAs. See you back here.